Welcome back to the channel. Today I will show you how I built this wooden engagement ring box. I built the box out of pine and red cedar to create a nice contrast between the layers. As a first step, I roughly cut the pine to a size of the cedar block. I purchased this on Amazon, link will be down below. After sanding them to make sure there will be no gap in between, I glued the 3 layers of wood together and made sure that I clamped them very well and evenly. Meanwhile, I cut the round edges off another cedar block and cut in half. This will be the top and bottom layer of the box. When the glue dried, I cut down the edges of the box and made sure they are nice and square. I still did not cut to its final size because I haven't finished gluing them just yet. Then I glued the top and bottom layer to the box, again making sure that it's clamped very strongly together to prevent any gap being visible between the layers. This time I tried to make flush at least one side, so it will be easier to cut it later on. Now I could finally cut it to its final size, very important to have all sides nice and square. Then I just had to make few last cuts to separate the top and bottom and cut them shorter. I built a small platform around the box to be able to route out the depth. I made this platform big enough to fit the router on the top. As a next step, I marked the area that I wanted to route out. Using this and the router bit as a reference, I nailed the frame around my router so it will cut out the wood within the marked area. Very important that this frame has to be square and parallel with the size of the box. When it was ready, I just had to make sure to go slowly and not to cut too deep at once. I passed my router 3 times on the bottom of the box until I got to the final depth and 2 times on the top. Then I sanded them inside very carefully. I used these tiny hinges to be able to open the box. Using a tape, I marked the depth of the hinge on the drill bit and very gently drilled the hole on both parts. To make sure I'm accurate as possible, I use the nail to mark the spot I have to drill, and I pre-drill the hole with a very small drill bit. Since the box wouldn't be able to open this way, I had to cut the backside of the bottom part in a 45 degrees angle and drill the holes further down for the hinges. To be able to keep the box closed, I came up with the idea of having these tiny magnets in the corner. After marking the spot where I wanted these magnets, I drilled a hole for them in the same way I did for the hinges. The magnets are slightly wider than the hinges, so I swapped for a bigger drill bit. To give the box a better look and nicer details, I moved my router table and I rounded the top part all around just as much as the top layer of cedar. As a cushion, I used a felt making base mat because it looked great with the colors of the wood and it feels really nice and soft. I cut them on size using a blade, then I cut a small piece off of the edges to make sure it doesn't make any bumps. Lastly, with my blade, I cut out a thin hole in the middle where the ring will be placed in. With that done, I was ready to assemble the box. I started off with the magnets, then I put the hinges into the bottom part. I used super glue here, so I had to be quick and very careful at the same time to don't ruin the work I've done so far. Using too much glue or gluing the hinges would end up really badly here, so I used only a tiny bit of glue everywhere. At this point, I decided to give the finish to the box while I was still able to reach every corner of it. I used pure tung oil for the finish. This made the colors really pop out and gave such a nice contrast to them. As the last step, I glued the hinges into the other side of the box and it was all done. As always, thank you for watching. If you like the video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification to get notified when we upload the next one. Like and share our videos to help the channel grow. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram.